Okay, so there's this story, and the first time I heard it, I think it was in Germany, and I'm gonna give you the Alabama version. So there's this guy. He's a fisherman, and he's got his truck, and he's ready to go fishing, but he needs some bait. And he goes to a gas station, and he sees a bill under his car, and he says, "Hey, what luck?" And he picks it up, and it says $3. And there's no such thing as a $3 bill, but it looks really legit. It's got some famous person's face on it and all that. And so he picks it up and says, "Hey, let me just try this out. Maybe it's good." And so he goes to the bait shop and he buys some fishing bait. And he uses the bill. And the bait salesperson says, "What's this?" And he says, "Look, it's a new $3 bill. I think it's legit. Give me some bait." And the guy says, "Okay." And the bait guy then goes and buys some ice. And he does the same thing. He says to the ice guy, "Look, it's a new $3 bill. I need some ice." And the ice guy says, "Okay." And then finally, at the end of the day, the ice guy goes and finds the fisherman and needs some fish, and so he gives him back $3. And the fisherman says, "Whoa, this is amazing. I got the same $3 back." And he decides to go to the bank the next day. He says, "Look, I haven't put money in the bank for a long time. This has got to be an omen." So he goes, and the cashier there at the bank looks at it and says, "This is not real. There's no such thing as a $3 bill." And he just rips it in half. And the fisherman's just shocked. He's like, "What do you mean? Like it's just, it did these $9 of trade the other day. We went from this shop to this shop. How can it be fake? It worked." And the banker just says, "Get out of here." And and later that evening, the banker is kind of finishing up the day, and he thinks, "Oh man, I need to go get some ice." And because there's no ice in the house, and so he goes to the ice store, and he thinks, "Oh man, why don't I use that $3?" So he takes the $3 and he tapes it up, and he uses it there at the ice shop, and the story goes that $3 has been in circulation in Alabama for the last 20 years, and it has transacted $100 million or more of trade, right? And if you go to Alabama, if you're really lucky, you'll find this bill. Someone will hand it to you for something, and you'll see it's got a little bit of tape on it, and you'll realize, wow, this bill has changed that many hands and has done all this work. So that story is also told here in Kenya with a 300 shilling note, where a woman gets it on after a day of selling tomatoes, and she uses it and uses it. And the whole point of that story is to try to teach us what is money. And if that story is true in any way whatsoever, it really says something very deep about our use of money and our belief in what money is as a culture and as a society. So for the last 8 years or so, since 2010, I have been going around Africa, primarily Kenya, and printing money. And it looks like this. We've done all sorts of them. One was called Eco Pesa, another one called Bangla Pesa, Gombeni Pesa. It's this one. I worked on a few of these in South Africa. Here's one called Kemali. South Africa Credit is what we use today. One of our supporters in the U.S. is Berkshires by the Schumacher Center, and it's worth $10, and they just printed it, and it's been in circulation now for like over 20 years. So if you could do that, if you can just go and print money, what does it actually say about our economy and our currency systems? And so that's the sort of goal of this MOOC. This course here is to give you a perception of what's possible with money. What could we do if we sort of let go of our perceptions of what it is? And very practically, how do you do that? How do you go out and just print a bunch of money and make it useful and make it responsible and sustainable and make sure it keeps circulating? And then we'll get into some more advanced technologies rather than just paper. How would you do it with blockchain? And welcome.